Good morning, Thailand. My name is Alex, and I have some news updates from around the land of smiles for you today, this Monday, August 19th. And we're going to start with our main story, and that's that Paetongtarn Shinawatra has become Thailand's Prime Minister. That's right, Paetongtarn Shinawatra has become Thailand's Prime Minister after receiving royal endorsement, replacing her predecessor, who was removed by the Constitutional Court. Now, Paetongtarn, the third Shinawatra to hold the position, leads a coalition including military parties. At 37, she is Thailand's youngest and second female prime minister. She aims to focus on economic stimulus, healthcare, and promoting Thai culture globally while asserting her independence despite her father's influence. Thaksin Shinawatra, her father, recently received a royal amnesty after returning from exile and serving a brief prison sentence. Oh, well, some things are familiar, right? Another Shinawatra gracing the stage as the leader of the nation. This one is, it's weird for me. I'm not a big fan of political dynasties in general as they came in my own country plenty of times to talk about Kennedys and Bushes and Clintons. But there is no denying the significant influence that the Shinawatra family wields. Now, what is yet to be determined is exactly how independent her thoughts will be, how she will be breaking from her father, if she will be breaking from her father in any policy positions. I think that's going to be difficult to monitor. Only 37 years old, never holding elected office before, and now wielding the highest power in the kingdom. Let me know what you guys think. This is a weird and difficult transition moment for Thai politics, but hopefully things will run smoothly and, she gets the support she needs in order to make sure that Thailand continues to be a successful country. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll leave the controversy to you guys. All right. Now, Shano says, youthful leadership. Yes, that's true. I'm inclined to like that aspect of things. Having somebody with their finger a little bit closer to the pulse is a welcome transition from what we usually see in politics, where you see geriatrics who don't even know what the internet is trying to lead regulations. That's a positive development in my book. However, it's the last name. It's the Shinawatra dynasty wielding its power once again. That is an interesting development and could be troubling for many. Let's see. Benobo says, I think Thai political dynasties take it to another level. Yes, that's true too. UFO channel, welcome back, asks, does she suffer cannabis? That's going to be an interesting question as well. Now, of course, Anutin has been the man behind the cannabis policies here. He still wields significant influence as well. I have a feeling that because of this, the turmoil of this transition, that particular issue might be on the back burner for now, especially because it was placed on the back burner already under the previous administration. We'll see. I'm not sure. Suffer, support, whatever. Same thing. It's all good. I'm not sure what her stance is publicly at this point. I don't think we know her stance on a lot of policy issues. So as the week unfolds, I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more out of her. But it seems like she's going to be focusing on the economy and economic development, and cannabis has been nothing but good for that. So we'll see. That would be an unnecessary battle for her to pick, I would imagine. All right. Anyways, let's don't worry, UFO. It's early in the morning for me, at least. I don't know where you are, but it's all good. Now, moving on to our next story. This is a weird, funny one. Now, Prawit, Wongsuwan is facing legal trouble after assaulting a journalist. So, Palang Pracharat party leader Prawit Wongsuwan faces potential imprisonment after assaulting a journalist who questioned him about Thailand's new Prime Minister, Paetongtarn Shinawatra. Prawit, who skipped the crucial PM selection meeting to attend an event with Thai Olympic athletes, lashed out and struck the reporter when asked if he watched the PM selection broadcast. His absence from the meeting may be linked to recent tensions between the Palang Pracharat party and the Pheu Thai party. If charged, Prawit could face up to 2 years in prison and a fine of 4,000 baht. All right, the fine, yes, I doubt he's going to be spending 2 years in Thai prison, but an apology is certainly in order. A very honest question, a reasonable question for any journalist to ask, particularly with such a hubbub surrounding this prime minister selection and the significant influence that he wields, being the leader of his own political party. No. Fists do not fly, especially, this is something we were talking earlier about the fists flying in the Turkish parliament. We don't see that bust out in Thai politics too much. So, we'll see what kind of example is made of him. If he's able to get away with it, that's not a good sign. But certainly a slap on the wrist is in order. Both financially and maybe actually, but probably not. So I think no prison time will be heading his way. However, we'll see what kind of stink and what kind of example is made from this incident. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Weird one. You can't be going around slapping journalists, people. You're supposed to be slapping them down verbally, not physically. My 2 cents. All right, moving on to non-political stories, but some tragic ones. Now, we're heading down to Phuket. Now, on the island, there was a shooting that has resulted in the death of a 15-year-old Myanmar girl. A tragic shooting in Phuket led to the death of a 15-year-old Burmese girl named Nampung. The incident occurred as she was traveling in a pickup truck with 2 others when a motorbike with 2 suspects aged 17 and 19 approached and fired a shotgun at the vehicle. The girl was hit in the head and died en route to the hospital. The police are now conducting a manhunt for the suspects, reviewing CCTV footage and gathering witness statements in order to bring the perpetrators to justice. Shocking story, a drive-by shooting, especially involving teenagers. This is one of the problems that we talk about when it comes to the Thai economy. Idle hands, especially with youths. This is what leads to, say, terrorism in the Middle East, people turning to extreme behaviors because they are bored and the hormones are running strong, things like that. The machismo, whatever is motivating this kind of action. We really still don't know what the purpose of this was, but we do know that a 15-year-old girl has no place being shot in the head. So yes, the men are still at large. They will be caught, I'm assuming, and justice will be done. But this highlights, I think, the key problem is that the economy needs to be put back on its feet so that youths like this have jobs to be working and other concerns rather than dealing with this hooliganism that they often turn to. Anyways, Shano says, poor girl, so young. But the other thing, Nongwa Sao talking about the last story, 4,000 baht, that slap wouldn't kill a mosquito. That's a very good point on that one as well, especially for someone who wields so much political power. Not sure what the result will be on either of those stories, but hopefully on this one, people will be brought to justice and these animals can be taken off the streets. All right, now that story was shocking, but let me tell you, the next one is going to give you some nightmares, so be warned. We got a trigger warning. A worker has been crushed to death by a hydraulic baler in Samut, Prakan. A 34-year-old Myanmar worker, Hein Nguyen O, tragically died by being crushed by a hydraulic paper baler at a recycling warehouse in Samut, Prakan. The accident occurred while he was operating the machine, with a co-worker hearing his desperate cries before help was able to turn the machine off. Despite attempts to rescue him, Hein Nguyen O was pronounced dead at the scene. Police are investigating the incident, having documented the scene and called in the warehouse workers and owner for further questioning. The body has been sent for an autopsy to confirm the exact cause of death. Well, this is terrifying, and this is the reason why they say that safety regulations are written in blood. Who knows exactly what the cause was? This could have been user error by the man himself, since he was the one operating the machine. But what kind of regulations were in place? What kind of training was given to this worker before he was operating this machine? These things need to be found out because, this is a horrifying story and quite shocking. The plant, I'm assuming, will be suspending operation until they are able to determine exactly what the chain of events was that led to this tragic death. But yes, I know that is nightmare fuel for me. Let me know what you guys make of it in the comments, please. Elliot says, yikes, again. There we go. Damien says, not a nice way to go. Shano says, occupational health and safety is not big in Thailand. Workplaces can be very dangerous with low safety standards, says Damien Jesser. Yeah, accidents happen. Certainly there was no malicious intent here, but this is the reason why, especially with dealing with such dangerous machinery and equipment, that extra steps need to be taken to ensure these kinds of stories don't happen. And it is no secret that in the greater ASEAN region that many safety regulations, corners are cut in order to save on costs. And, well, ultimately the cost is much greater, as it was in this case. So my heart goes out to those family of this poor man. And hopefully some answers can be brought so that nothing like this can happen again. Okay, yeah, sorry guys, I still have one more tragic story for you before we move on to brighter pastures. Wait, last thing, TJ McD says, a few years back here in the U.S., a guy got dragged into a wood chipper. That is also terrifying. I've seen Fargo. Huh. I'm going to have some nightmares tonight. Sorry for sorry for bringing that to your attention, everybody, but it's important to know so that we call attention to this and changes can be made to prevent these tragedies from happening in the future. Okay, on to our next story. This one's a weird one, everybody. Now, a misunderstanding over a clogged drain has led to a stabbing. That's right, a misunderstanding over a clogged drain led to a stabbing in the Chaicharon community. A 45-year-old man, Suchat Abdullah, was complaining about a clogged drain after a heavy rainfall, which his 23-year-old neighbor Pong mistakenly took as a personal attack. The argument escalated, and Pong, who has a history of drug issues, stabbed Suchart with a kitchen knife before fleeing. Suchart was rushed to the hospital and is in stable condition. Police are reviewing CCTV footage and actively searching for Pong to hold him accountable. What? Guys, come on. Like, I don't know, a clogged drain. This is a common occurrence in Thailand, everybody. The infrastructure is not the best, not well known for getting rid of the water quickly. So I imagine that was probably some man talking to his neighbor, looking for a bit of camaraderie over this clogged drain. Like, hey, can you believe this stuff? He's like, what'd you say about me? And then the stabbing ensues. So this man has a history of drug-related issues. I imagine that was probably what led to his brief psychosis and the ultimate stabbing. Fortunately, the man is in stable condition, but yeah, we got to track this guy down. Right now, he's on the lam, and first of all, he must be punished for this horrific incident. And yeah, I imagine in prison, it'll be harder to get your hands on drugs, so he'll be cleaned up as well. So if you know anything about that, please do contact your local authorities, and hopefully we can get this guy off the streets and where he belongs, where he can't be hurting anybody else. All right. Shano says, psycho neighbors, always on drugs. Ain't that the truth? Yeah. Hey, there are plenty of people on drugs who don't go crazy, so let's not lump them all in together, but certainly that can be a common factor, especially with drugs like yaba on the loose here in Thailand. We talk about stories where methamphetamine comes across the Burmese border in droves, and that is often what leads to these psychotic breaks. So who knows what drugs are involved still, but yeah, I would imagine that could be a possible culprit. Gordon Bate, it wasn't the force of the slap, it was the fact that he slapped it all, and worse, the fact that it was a girl that he slapped. Oh, you're talking about the journalist that was slapped earlier. That was, you know, I saw the incident. It wasn't, you know, horrendous, but it was more like the act of it, I think, especially in the face of what was a legitimate question, right? I think people in power, politicians, they you know, they need to be held accountable. They are supposed to be public servants. And when there's a question like that, right, like he was skipping out on the prime minister selection, which is a big deal, in favor of spending some time with Olympic athletes and getting a favorable photo op. That's a fair question for journalists in Thailand to be asking. So the fact that he responded with physicality, I don't want to say, you know, violence is a strong word, but I think, yeah, it was a fair enough question. And if you're holding power, you have to have thicker skin in order to be able to handle those questions. So my opinion on that one, Gordon. Mung Wei says, cray on the last story. Damien Jester says, them weed smokers. Wow, you have to worry about them. Laugh, 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 laugh. Hey, cannabis can, in combination with other drugs, lead to some serious mental issues. However, let's not blame the plant. Let's blame the man in this incident, I would say. For now, we're going to move on from our tiger stories in Thailand over to the greater ASEAN region. And our first stop is going to be Malaysia. Now, Malaysia is introducing an Adopt-an-Orangutan plan for palm oil importers. This one's questionable to me. Malaysia has introduced an Adopt-an-Orangutan plan for palm oil importers, allowing companies to support orangutan conservation without relocating the animals from their natural habitat. The revised scheme aims to protect forests while addressing global concerns about palm oil production's environmental impact. Funds from adoptions will go to the NGOs and the Sabah government to monitor and preserve orangutan habitats. The initiative replaces a controversial earlier proposal to send orangutans abroad as trading gifts. Malaysia has also pledged to maintain its forest cover of about 50%, with current levels at 54%. They're approaching that edge already. Now, there was a big hubbub about this story earlier this year because it was seen as like, China uses panda diplomacy. Malaysia's like, why don't we use orangutan diplomacy? The problem is this was all based in the fact that palm oil producers are absolutely destroying orangutans' natural habitats. So it was like, oh, hey, we're just going to find them a new home in countries abroad. That is not what conservationists are after. And not having that natural habitat is going to, they're all just going to be in zoos all over the world, which is not exactly a conservationist dream. So here they are promising to keep 50% coverage. However, I find it to be dubious since they are already at 54%. And the palm oil production is not slowing down. So unless they are able to find ways to make their own current levels of production to stabilize and keep things the way that they are, which, money talks, and that's going to lead to more development, I would imagine. But so that's why I want us to keep our eyes on this particular story to keep them honest. So I don't know if any of you are watching from Malaysia. Let me know what you think about this story and if you think the government will be able to keep this promise of maintaining the habitats of, one of the coolest creatures that are still gracing the planet. I'm a big orangutan fan. All right. Bonobo says, reminds me of when Prawit was using the spray bottle on journalists for the slap story. Spray bottle's better. At least that one's funnier. At least, hey, what are you thinking? Journalists, they have a tough job, man. They have to ask the tough questions and try to speak truth to power. However, at the same time, there are plenty of journalists with biases that are trying to lead politicians into traps. But that's a politician's job, in my book, to understand what their words mean. That is like the number one thing that they're supposed to be doing is to understand the power of their words and rhetoric and understand what the journalists are asking. So, yeah. In any case, spray bottle, kind of funny. Slaps, less funny. In any case, it should be words doing the talking. Okay, now, this next one definitely going to be some serious controversy over this story coming out of the Philippines. Now, a Philippine senator is facing backlash over sexual rights comments. Philippine Senator Robin Padilla faced widespread backlash after asking in Parliament whether husbands have sexual rights, quote unquote, over their wives during a hearing on sexual harassment in the entertainment industry. Padilla's comments, made while questioning human rights lawyer Loma Kapunan, sparked outrage online, with critics condemning his remarks as outdated and disrespectful. Kapunan responded that husbands should seek alternatives like watching Netflix if their wives are not in the mood. Prominent voices, including human rights lawyer Jose Manuel Diokno, emphasized that no means no and that women have equal rights. The controversy has reignited discussions on gender equality and the need for legal reforms in the Philippines. Also, this man is apparently dating a film star over in the Philippines as well, so that's going to be some controversy for her that her husband is out there making these incredibly outdated claims. This is something that I did not understand for a long time. Yeah, marital assault and things, they were not crimes even in America until much later than it should have been. And over here, we still have these very outdated male skewing, hey, I'm in the mood, give it to me. And that's essentially what we're going to, it's the R word. I'm not going to say it because I'll get banned on social media. But yeah, that is pretty gross. And he is facing widespread backlash because of those comments, deservedly so. So, yeah, what do you make of this? I think women should have the right for their own bodily autonomy to say no. I don't think that's too controversial of a statement. And men, yeah, control yourselves. Good God. It takes both genders to hold up the sky, right? As they say in China. So let's be respectful, especially to someone you've committed your life to, your wife. Happy wife, happy life. That's what they say. Yep. Damien saying what the word is in the comments, and that is for sure exactly what it is. So no excuse. Doesn't matter that you're the husband. That is still assault, and it is not welcome in the modern world. Okay, now, finally, our last story, we're heading over to Indonesia. Now, Indonesia is celebrating Independence Day in the future capital of Nusantara. Indonesia celebrated its Independence Day for the first time in its future capital, Nusantara, despite ongoing construction and funding challenges. Originally, the country aimed to inaugurate the city on the 79th anniversary of its independence, marking the end of Dutch and Japanese rule. However, delays have pushed back the timeline. The celebration was scaled down, with President Joko Widodo, who initiated the project, attending alongside his successor, Prabowo Subianto. The development of Nusantara on Borneo Island is expected to be a key part of Widodo's legacy. Well, I would imagine it would be a key part of the legacy. It is... You're moving a capital. That's a big deal. So, of course, Jakarta, famously sinking, but also one of the most populated cities in Asia. This is a big deal, a major undertaking for the entire nation of Indonesia, which is only partially funded by the government, only 20% funded, the rest coming from private organizations and citizens within Indonesia. And yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to go to Borneo? I think that's a beautiful endeavor. Yeah, marking the occasion with your Independence Day, why not? Now, of course, it was the 79th Independence Day. That's not exactly a landmark year, so they didn't really get to do it the way they wanted to. So hopefully they'll be ready by next year for the 80th, which sounds like a much nicer number. Anyways, beautiful place. Let's see. Damien says their new parliament looks like it's going to look cool. Yeah, I think so. Good for them. I think, the move needs to be made. But what the timeline exactly is going to look like is a serious question mark still. But now Widodo and his successor are all in on the move, and it seems like they have the full force of the Indonesian people behind them on this endeavor. So good luck to them, and hopefully we'll be seeing a beautiful new city popping up down in Indonesia. All right, guys. Well, that'll do it for our news stories today. You can always go to thetiger.com to catch up on more updates as we go throughout the day. We have stories coming out every hour, multiple times per hour. So there's always a lot of news to catch up on throughout your day. Also, please head over to ASEANnow.com to sign up for an account so you can join the conversation. There's plenty of people over there, like-minded and not so like-minded, having fun conversations like, what was the other one? Am I really a handsome man? Questions like that can be answered by the community over there. Please do consider signing up. For the rest of you who are watching now, like, subscribe. Leave your comments. Now, if you're just watching, you cannot join the conversation without subscribing. So please do subscribe. Helps the channel a lot. Like I said, we're knocking on the door of 200,000. I want to get us across that by the end of the month. So we got 11 days, 12. But yeah, and finally, I got some shows coming up. If anybody's going to be in Bangkok on August 31st, I'm going to write this down. I'm going to get my plugs in as well. Leaf, Laugh, Love, Comedy on Instagram. That is my comedy promotion. We will be having a big show at the end of the month on August 31st, a Saturday. I have some of the best local comedic talent coming to grace the stage. I will be your host, and our headliner is none other than Charles the French, a big old YouTuber. He's got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, puts out funny videos all the time. He's a musician, magician, comedian. The man can do it all. Now he's doing horse racing announcing. The guy is all over the place, and you're going to love what he has to say on stage. So please do consider following that and joining us for that show if you are in Bangkok on August 31st. All right, that'll do it for me, everybody. Have a wonderful day. I'll be back again with all of you tomorrow on Tuesday. Until then, have a good Monday. Shano, shows are going to be good, he says. Thank you, everybody. Take care. I'll see you next time.